Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. I'm very pleased this morning to spend the next 25 minutes talking to some customers, people who are responsible for deploying end-user computing solutions into their respectable organizations. I'm very proud to be joined, first of all, by Tony Roberts from Warburton's. Tony, give us a wave.
Hello.
Rene Bigler from the Vocational College in Switzerland. Rene, give us a wave.
Hello.
Erwin Knappen from the Statistics in the Netherlands.
Hey guys.
And Bob Mulders from Voss Logistics, also in the Netherlands. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
Obviously, today's event is all about transformation and Unite, and there's been a huge amount of transformation that's been going on in the last 12 months, both for good and bad reasons. Can I start by asking all of you one at a time to just go back and let's have a recap of the sort of transformation that you guys have had to go through in the last 12 months, obviously since COVID came along, and you've had to deploy end-user computing solutions, both to people who are still going to work, but also people who are now obviously working from home. Rene, if I could, I'll start with you. You're obviously a very well-known name. I know you've attended Disrupt many times before. Thank you for that. Well-known name in the community. Let's start with you. What's been going on at the college over the last 12 months?
Yeah, a lot, really a lot. So I'm quite happy. We have been in a good position to have already a EUC solution in place. So we had a Citrix deployment in place for providing virtual desktops, virtual labs to our students, faculty, staff members. And I think this saved us a little bit over this time. I can remember it was March the 13th, I think, when my boss called me and ordered me into his office, and he told me Swiss authorities had decided to shut down the schools by Monday. So it was a Friday afternoon, and beginning of the following Monday, schools all over the country had to shut down and provide some sort of distance learning with the tools available. So thankfully we had some tools available. We're a Microsoft Office 365 school as well, so we had Teams obviously in place, but it wasn't a tool heavily used for video communication to that point. So Teams was just a platform for the teachers and students to exchange learning materials and so on. So, but from this point, it became our backbone for keeping in touch with our students, with the faculty members as well. So basically, Teams was a savior for us. Yeah.
Interesting. Tony, can I come to you? I know Microsoft Teams has been an important part of ensuring that your business continues to operate over the last 12 months as well, correct?
Yeah, it's played a massive part. Really, it was in its early stages of use in the business until the COVID situation appeared, and that got accelerated. And fortunately for us, our infrastructure and architecture was in place for remote working anyway. So when the call was made for people to go and work from home, it was fine. We could cope with that. The challenge was Teams then. At first, it's okay because most of the head office users would use laptops, that kind of thing. But then there's been there was an appetite to use it on sites because obviously people were still working in the production parts of the business. And they needed to do meetings, they needed to do Teams via meetings, and everyone connects via Citrix. So that's why, we've undertaken a big project from the infrastructure perspective. Last year, as we went into lockdown, we had a huge project for a storage refresh, compute refresh, and whole desktop refresh. So that's why we've gone down the IGEL route, because of the Teams optimization with Citrix.
Mm-hmm.
And the early stages of testing of that was really positive, and that's really helped us keep ahead of the game, especially for staff on sites. It's working really well. We just did a call this morning actually with some of the key sites that are using the IGELs, and the feedback's been really, really good.
Perfect. Oh, and let's come to you. You obviously work for the National Statistics Organization in the Netherlands, gathering statistics for all sorts of reasons. COVID vaccinations, COVID infections, obviously is part of that. Huge amount of data being collected by your analysts, your researchers, etc. How's the transition been for you, and how's thin client computing, Citrix, VMware help with that?
It went quick. So for me, I started at this organization in February, and somewhere in April we needed to have a couple of projects done that normally would have taken a year plus. We're a government entity, so not everything always goes as quick as you would expect, but now we just needed to. So somewhere in April, we got notice that we needed to start making sure that all the employees could work from home. So we chose Zoom as a video platform. So we're using Zoom. Also with video offloading, etc. on the IGELs, we've done some testing. So the VMware with the IGEL OS, and then Zoom, the offloading also works perfectly. And then the challenge came, we need more and more video conferencing rooms for management and people in the offices to do the hybrid working with the people who are at home. We have 2 locations in the Netherlands, so one in The Hague, one in Heerlen. And we have a small branch office in the Dutch Caribbean in Bonaire. And they also still needed to be in contact with us. So we implemented 100 video rooms, so converted all the smallest rooms that we could find in the building. So people could quickly walk in, start a video meeting if they were in the office or if they were at home. We tried to get all these people laptops, so they were able to work from home and not always on their private equipment. And then the next challenge came naturally. We still had lots of desks in the offices, all with a small PC on it that would connect to our VDI farm. And now people have laptops and they want to come into the office with a laptop when we can return. So now we're rolling out lots of docking stations, replacing PCs with docking stations, etc. And for the desks that are flex, so for the call center, for a service desk or a facilities desk, etc., where multiple people are working behind a desk and that need to have connectivity to a VDI to look up information. We are using IGEL on thin clients.
Perfect. So by no means last, we've spoken to the bakery in the UK. We've spoken to Rene, who's in education, Erwin, who's looking after statistics. We now go to you, Bob, Voss Logistics, transportation and moving all sorts of stuff all around Europe, right?
Yep, that's right. We had a lot in place. We have a Citrix portal. We had teams. We had teams for the IT members, so not for the users. So we have to buy a lot new licenses for that. And then it was possible, before not. What we did is to buy a lot of home laptops, and we put IGEL on it for better management, security, less patches. So it was a big maintenance opportunity for us, because the problem is, as always, the Windows patches, and we had a lot of Windows 7 thin clients also in our buildings. And we migrated to IGEL. So the lifetime of the thin client, we extended with several years. And also for the security, I think it's very good. We did some pen tests, and the results were very good also, because it's Linux and not Windows OS. So the security item was very handy for us, also in the reporting to our board members.
Good, good. It's been very interesting. I've spoken to many of you actually. Whether you've had Windows PCs or whether you've had Windows clients, a lot of you have gone down that IGEL route because of the benefits that it brings you in terms of, operational cost, right? Either improving security or reducing the amount of patching and management that's been done. But IGEL aside, you've all been using Citrix and or VMware, some form of VDI for quite some time. I mean, how do you see the future now? If people suddenly did go back to work, or the world went back to a form of normal, do you see that changing again? Rene, I mean, what does your future strategy for EUC look like now?
Well, for us, the point of providing virtual workspaces was there for a couple of years already. So we try to get rid of those Windows fat clients, because it doesn't make any sense to manage the endpoint, the Windows endpoint, and on top you have to manage the Windows master images of your VDI deployment. So IGEL was a big pillar of our strategy already for a couple of years. It wasn't mainly the reason to save cost, to be honest. I think it's not cheaper to deploy thin clients and manage the VDI deployment and so on. But it enabled us to invest our time, our limited resources from people, to use this time to stay on the edge of the technology that's going on in our industry, to provide new opportunities, to support bring your own device initiatives for our students, for our faculty, staff members, to allow them to work from home, to support them on any device, to support them on their Mac OS, on their Chromebooks, on their Windows PCs, or during the pandemic even. We already had a bunch of mobile IGEL SIM clients in place at the campus. We used them as a loaner device when a student came in and told us, my laptop is broken, can I have a device from the school to work this morning? We had those in place already, and that was a good thing to easily have those devices deployed to students that had to learn from home now, but didn't have a PC. There are families in Switzerland, they have maybe 3 or 4 children at the same time at school. Everybody has to do remote learning from home. Maybe there's one computer in the family, and dad and mom have to work from home as well. So for the first couple of days, a lot of our students just use their smartphones to connect with the class via Teams and so on. And then we grabbed those loaner devices already in place at school, but nobody used them. We had them switched the configuration from the internal Citrix storefronts to the public-facing ADCs to connect to the Citrix farm, and could then hand over a device for the next couple of weeks until it was possible to come back to school again.
Very good, very good. But Bob, what about you? What does the future look like for Boss?
We have a private cloud, and we are very happy with that. It was very steady, but we know what the future is coming. I think it's not possible maybe 5 or 10 years to have a private cloud anymore. It is also hybrid, but I think it will be a problem. But yeah, we are very happy with that, and I've a lot of engineers here. We have a very large IT department involved, around 40 people.
Mm-hmm.
And we have around 800 workplaces. And I think about 40 sites in Europe we can handle with our guys. But yeah, I think we have to manage the problem with our people, with the experience they have with indeed maintenance. That is our major problem. We can do patches every day if we want, and I think that will be our biggest problem we will have in the future. So we have to find solutions for that, of course.
Yeah. Erwin, what about you?
Yeah, for us, hybrid cloud computing is for sure a direction some stuff is going into. We already have a couple of data centers. We have a mega computer running at Saga, stuff like that already from the past. But we're now also looking into syncing our AD with Microsoft, going into the Exchange Online possibly. So yeah, we're looking into that direction. But the biggest parts of our environment is still giving externals access to some secure data, etc. Those parts will be for sure on-premise, running in our own data centers for the foreseeable future.
So just to sort of finish up, if I was to ask you guys, what's the biggest thing that the last 12 months has taught you? What has shocked you, what's amazed you as you look at your organizations and you look at the IT services you're providing? What is it in the last 12 months that you think, well, I wasn't expecting that to happen? Anyone care to go first?
Yeah, I got more budget.
Brilliant. I mean, is that the case? I mean, more budget has been allocated to EUC?
Yeah, that's really the case.
Right.
I'm very happy.
What about you?
For us, this how quickly management can adopt a new way of working. When we first planned out this project to introduce that people could work from home more, to rely heavily on the VDI infrastructure, we thought that getting people on board, and especially management on board with their employees not sitting behind the desk when they walked into the office, etc., that would be the biggest challenge. And now that they need to do it, that's been no challenge at all. So that was the biggest surprise for us, how quickly people adopt to changing their business process to suit the need for the people working from home, especially when they closed schools or kids running around. Then they needed to adopt to say people, hey, if you want to work in the evenings or early in the morning, feel free. You can plan your own hours. Lots of companies, I think, that before this pandemic still had a strict 9-to-5 policy. They now quickly saw that it was more productive to have the people just working the hours that they can whenever they can. And they still saw a huge percentage of productivity and projects delivered. So I think that the first couple of weeks we saw a drop in productivity. But after most of the stuff was set, we see now that if we plan a sprint with an agile team for the next 2 or 4 weeks, we see above 95% predictability on the output of those teams. And that was something that I did not expect. They all expected that productivity would go down because everybody was working from home. And after people were used to it, I think we are even seeing higher productivity output numbers than we had when everybody was still in the office.
Good. Tony, what about yourself?
Very similar. It's just amazing how I think that from a business perspective, they didn't think that it could be done where people work from home, but I think it shocked quite a few people, the way that people have adapted and productivity has gone up. I think it adds quality of life to people, because if you've got kids, that kind of thing, you can there's that flexibility where you can decide to work at night and catch up with, if you've got homeschooling to do. So it's been a breath of fresh air, especially for Warburtons. And I think it was something they were thinking about, but this has shown them that it can be done. And it can be done really well. And we've delivered from an IT perspective a huge project last year. It was one of the biggest infrastructure projects we've done for 5 years, and we did it all remotely, which was amazing.
Yeah,
it really was. It was fantastic. We were really proud of it, and it was a big achievement, and it showed that it could be done.
Well done to you and the team there. Lastly, Rene, what about you?
Well, for me, it was really impressive to see how fast those pandemic situation drives digital transformation for us. Maybe in those last 12 months, there happened so much that usually takes years, maybe 5 years, 10 years, I don't know. And the interesting part, I think we made some, we have seen that there are things that we will keep in a post-pandemic situation as well. It opens up the minds for new learning scenarios as well. Maybe some sort of hybrid learning. It's maybe not necessary to be always at the campus to learn. So maybe there will be for the future some forms of hybrid learning implemented in the curriculum.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting as a father myself, and seeing the kids having adapt to homeschooling, knowing what we all do in the end user compute space, the technology that we've got that can allow certain things to happen. I find it very interesting because I think, again, I go back to talking about how it's now probably less about VDI and desktop as a service and more about how do you actually get a workspace down to an employee or a student or however that might be. My son's challenges, for instance, have not been the fact that he needs to use Teams or he needs to worry about logging onto his machine, for instance. It's more to do with the workflow that he has to accommodate on a day-to-day basis. And I think as I've spoken to more of you, I've started to see more and more that, whether we're using VDI or not, is not really what we need to be focused on moving forward. It's how can we actually, you all mentioned the word simplicity. How do we make technology easier to consume? And I think that then means that all of us need to focus much more on how do we deliver the workspace of the future as opposed to what technology we're using to deliver it. Would you agree with that statement?
Definitely, from my side.
Yes.
The biggest challenge probably in the first 2 days when our 3,500 students and a couple of teachers and faculty staff members worked from home was, wow, I never set up my multi-factor authentication. Now I can't remember. How does this work? It was the first 3 days, basically every call was about this stuff. And then how can I connect to my Wi-Fi at home and so on. So simplicity and providing a tool set to get the job done is something that's really important. Yeah.
Great stuff. Well, listen, everybody, thank you all for spending some time talking to me this morning. I know all of you have got much longer stories to share around what you've done with either VMware or Citrix or WVD, IGEL, and all of the other partners that go in. I know that you'd all be very happy if people wanted to reach out, but I just want to say thank you very much for joining me this morning. Thanks for spending the time in helping share your stories about how things have transformed and the technologies you're using within end user compute.
Same to you, Simon. Thanks. Yeah, normally we would be available at the bar at Disrupt to talk to other customers and people who wanted to talk to us. So for now, if somebody wants to reach out and have a short discussion, feel free to find us on LinkedIn, etc.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Have a good
Goodbye.
Cheers, guys.
day.
Bye bye.